Welcome everyone. My name is Amy Engelmark and I am super happy to have you on this training with me today. It's Wednesday, June 15th, 2016, and this webinar is called Breakthrough to Your Fun, Fabulous Life. It is training that will help you if you are a business leader, you are a mentor, you are an entrepreneur, you're someone who leads groups of people and your busy schedule is starting to feel like too much. Maybe you're somebody whose time management has flown out the window because it just feels like every task on your plate is urgent. You're feeling maybe a little worn out or burnt out and you need to re-energize. This webinar is totally for you. If you feel like your business is a success, but your personal life, you've just let it fall off of your to-do list, this is for you. Today, I am going to be training on a topic dear to my heart, communication, because without flourishing, healthy communication in your personal life or business life, you will not be a success. So we're going to get some steps to healthy communication down pat today so that you have your next steps in line when you have to have an uncomfortable conversation. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story when it comes to uncomfortable conversations and how I've come from there to where I am right now. So if you're joining us live, I want to invite you to enter your name up here in the chat bar and where you're from so I can see who's joining me. I would love you to do that. I love you anyways, but I would love it if you could do that. So my story. I got married and was living on a sailboat with my husband in my early 20s. Because our space was so tight, anytime we would have an argument, I literally did not know how to handle it. I got pretty uncomfortable most of the time, didn't know how to stand up for myself, wasn't really confident in that area of communication, so I would avoid. That was my strategy. I would zip out the hatch of our boat and I would go walk around the dock or walk around the marina and gain my composure. The other thing that I would do is when I think back on it, I blamed my spouse for whatever, instead of taking responsibility, which is pretty lame. But that's what I did back then. Those were my two main tactics. I've learned a lot since then about communication in the business world, in my personal life, and some of you may be better in one department than you are in the other. And that's okay because you can always grow. You can always improve yourself. You can start from where you're at today because you always have a second chance. I've learned that if you're going to blame, it's not going to get you anywhere. You have to take personal responsibility to improve who you are as a person, and that naturally, positively impacts your relationships with others. So focus on yourself, right? Grow yourself. You can't change anyone else, no matter how hard you try. People will push back if they feel like you're trying to change them. So we're going to talk about the skills that I've learned through my training and through my personal experience because it will help you come to the place that I've come to, which is feeling very confident in communicating what my feelings are, what my needs are, even when it's a really uncomfortable conversation that you need to have. So stick around to the end because I have a book, let me just get it here, that I'd like to give you if you answer the question correctly at the end of the call. This book is called Enjoy the Little Things, and it's meant for you to write down what you're acknowledging yourself for. So what have you accomplished every week? So often we don't take the time to give ourselves praise or acknowledgement for the work that has been completed. We just keep ticking off our to-do list and fail to acknowledge ourselves and celebrate our progress. Such an important step for you to take if you want to feel good, confident, and victorious in your life. So I'm going to share with you my screen, and we'll get going into the training portion of the webinar. Before we do, I want to share a link with you in the chat room. For those of you who are on live, you'll have this link to my upcoming book called From Burnt Out to Bliss, and it's a 30-day challenge for high achievers to have more fun and more freedom. So I'm going to share it with you now. And if you are just joining us, welcome. Great to have you. And for those of you watching the replay, lovely to be with you right now, whenever and wherever you're watching this from. Let's hop into the training. These webinars, like I told you, are called Breakthrough to Your Fun and Fabulous Life. They're weekly webinars that are held every Wednesday at 11 a.m. If you can't make it live, you can sign up and you'll be sent the replay and you can watch it at your leisure. This hour every Wednesday is meant to help you create time for yourself, to decrease your stress and create a lifestyle that makes you feel more balanced so you can be really productive and really scale your businesses. Help your organization grow. They're all about increasing your free time, productivity, and health. So you're going to discover a lot of things on this webinar. There are proven stress management strategies that I share with you to help you regain control of your thought life, which directs your actions and has a big impact. You'll discover how to develop new habits so you can become more productive, increase the impact that you're making, and the success of your business or company. You're going to discover how to make yourself and your health a priority, even if you have the busiest schedule. You'll find out why mastering your mindset is key to more time freedom and greater prosperity. And last but not least, you're going to find out the steps that you need so that you can have a real boost in your energy, feel awesome emotionally, and have great mental clarity. These webinars, like I said, they happen weekly. I also do trainings live with people in person. So stick around till the end because I have my free book that I'm going to give to you, and you're welcome to download those 2 chapters of my ebook, From Burnt Out to Bliss, anytime you want during this training. And I promise you that if you are a busy professional, you can still have the lifestyle that you want. You can still have time to exercise and eat healthy, have a flourishing social life, have time to have fun with your family. So I'll show you how to do that and build the foundation for that today. We're also going to have a lot of fun because that's super important to me, to take life lightly. And you're going to walk away with a system of how you can have that lifestyle that you want, minus the stress you might be experiencing right now. I'm going to show you the habits that you need to develop to be highly successful, productive, and have more fun and freedom than you already are having. So this is me in front of my home. I'm the author of the upcoming book, From Burnt Out to Bliss. I'm a trainer, speaker, and I'm a coach. I work with entrepreneurs, people in corporate, healthcare professionals, service professionals, and I help people increase their free time, productivity, and health while we decrease your stress levels. I host workshops live and over social media, and I offer group coaching programs as well with members from all over North America, as well as offer one-to-one private coaching. And I personally use these systems that I'm about to teach you in my own life, so I've also reaped the benefits. Here I am training live with several different groups. I've spoken at banks, I've spoken for entrepreneurial groups, I've spoken for caregivers, I've spoken for so many groups that I can't remember. Military resource centers, people who are wanting to make a big shift in their lives happen, and they're ready to take action. A little bit about me, I absolutely love nature. I love mountain biking. I love being active outside. Here is me with my boys. Simon's on the left, he's 8, and Gavin is on the right there, he's 10. We love spending time on the West Coast. Here's us out for a hike, spending more time outside. And here's my wonderful husband on the left-hand side there, beach. We spend as much time as we can really connecting as a family. So here is the topic of our training today. It's called How to Handle Difficult Conversations. Initially, I wanted to give you 3 steps so you could move forward today, but I have a little more than 3 steps because I really want to help you solidify a strategy to communicate right away with someone you need to have a difficult conversation with, or just feel prepared for next time when you need to have a difficult conversation at work or in your personal life. So the first step, this is where you want to get your pen and paper out and take really good notes, because you're going to want to refresh yourself and look back if there was a point that really stuck out to you. It's important to have notes. I'm a total note taker. It really helps my mind digest what I'm learning. So the first key is your mindset. You will need to change your mindset to think about the conversation in a healthy, lighter way before you even have the conversation. Just going to have a sip of my tea here. Sometimes we think of the conversation before we have it, and we think, oh my goodness, this is going to suck. This is going to be hard to have. This is going to be difficult. I'm not going to like this. They're not going to like this. Oh my goodness, how does that make you feel? How does that dialogue that I was just speaking make you feel inside? For me, it drains my energy, makes me feel a bit darker inside, makes me fearful. So I don't know about you, but as you see, your thoughts hold power over your emotions. So tell yourself it's just a conversation. It might be a big conversation, but it's still just a conversation. You will not die. Fear tells you that you will die. You will shrivel up. You will lose all your friendships. You will lose the connections that are dearest to you, and you will die. Fear, what a crock of you know what. You can tell yourself that this conversation, it's just a little bit of discomfort. When I'm working out at boot camp, I tell myself it's just discomfort. My coach reminds me of that. My instructor, all the time. It's just a little bit of discomfort. And I use that myself when I'm just about to start a conversation that I know might be uncomfortable. I tell myself it's just discomfort. So change your mindset. There is power in your thoughts to impact how you feel before you even step into the conversation. Here's some problem-solving questions that you will probably want to write down to ask yourself to change how you feel before the conversation. One is, what is great about this problem? This will help you switch your focus to see the benefit for you or the other person or both of you when you have the conversation. And you could even ask yourself, how can I enjoy this process while I do what's necessary to make it the way I want it? So how can I enjoy this process, just working up to having the conversation and actually having the conversation while I do what's necessary to make it the way I want it? So you always have control over more than you think. The next step is to develop a flexible strategy. So I don't know if you can hear the rain above me while I'm sharing with you today, but hopefully it's not a distraction. We're getting a lot of rain here. So the second step is to develop a flexible strategy. If you walk into this conversation with a very rigid idea of what you want to share and how you feel that person will respond, you're going to quite possibly be left in the middle of the conversation with no solid foundation beneath you. You might be feeling quite stuck because what if that person doesn't respond in the way you think they're going to respond, and you only had a very rigid idea of how your conversation was going to go? You're going to feel like you're treading water and floundering. So you need to develop a flexible strategy to speak with them. You know, what are a few possible responses that you could have depending on how they respond to you when you start the conversation? Take some time and write down a few possible responses that you could have in the conversation. And then focus on being really simple, keeping it clear and direct and neutral. Simple, clear, direct, and neutral. I want to share a testimonial with you about a physician I worked with, a client of mine. She was really struggling mentally with her thought life. It was getting her into a really negative space, and it was impacting everything in her life. She was snacking on food that she didn't want to be just because she was so stuck in this mental rut. She wasn't making time to exercise or move her body in the ways she wanted to because she didn't feel like she had the time, and she was too tired most of the time to even think about exercising, even though she wanted it badly. She wasn't spending the time or really feeling connected to her husband the way she wanted to. So she was juggling all of these responsibilities and being a mom while she took on this full-time position of a physician. I helped her really switch her thinking patterns so that she was more generally feeling positive, which made such an impact on how happy she was, how peaceful she felt in her family life and her marriage. And then she became much more aware of when she was stressed so that she could give herself time just to breathe. You know, how often do you give yourself time to breathe and digest and figure out what you need to honor your needs? More people need to do this more of the time. She also noticed that her sleep was improving. She had more energy. She was being more gentle with herself. She was acknowledging her effort and her actions taken more. So her life really did a big turnaround. Here's our next teaching point. What are your options? So you need to acknowledge what your options are. How could you respond to this person? What are the different options that you have? Don't just think that, you know, you only have two choices and that one is the better choice and the other is the worst choice. Be creative. Write a list of at least 5 different ways you could respond. Put different hats on and think from different people's perspective. What would a kid do? What would a grandparent do? What would someone who's feeling really heard and respected, how would they respond? Then you want to get curious. This is the third step. So you want to find out what the real problem is. So instead of just staying in your head and coming into the conversation thinking about the problem from your perspective, you want to ask them what they think the problem is. I really love Brené Brown. She's an author, and one of her books that she wrote is called Daring Greatly. She asks this question. She says, you know, this is the story that's been going around in my head, and I'm curious. What story is playing in your mind? Like, what's your perspective? So it's really important to get curious instead of coming into the conversation thinking you know everything and assuming. That can get you in a real problem. You can get really stuck if you assume you know everything. So it takes humility and a willingness to get curious, to become open, and that's when you're going to figure out what the real issue is. What does the other person think? You really want to know their perspective. Here's the fourth point to having difficult conversations. Be considerate. You don't need to give your power away when you're considerate. For example, you don't need to say, this is what I want, but I feel really bad about asking for it. That's giving your power away. Or if you start the conversation with, this is really hard for me to do, you're basically showing up in your weakest form when you say something like that. You can still be kind and respectful and courteous and considerate, even empathetic, but you don't need to play small. You don't need to give your power away. So know your value. That's where this all comes. You know, if we look down to the bottom of being considerate and not giving your power away, you need to know how valuable you are. You need to believe that your opinions and your needs are worthwhile, that they're worthy, that they're important, so that you can own your power. You can walk into this conversation feeling confident, loved, and powerful. Here's another testimonial from a client of mine, a lawyer, and she was really feeling powerless over her schedule. She was feeling like there were endless demands and she had no idea how she was going to continue meeting her workload, continue meeting deadlines, because what was happening was, again, her eating habits were going out the window a bit, or maybe she wouldn't even eat some days for certain meals. She was not spending time with her family like she wanted to. Her personal and spiritual goals were going down the drain. They were just lying dormant because she felt like she couldn't make time for anything other than work. So she was feeling pretty drained and stressed a lot of the time. Then, as I offered her strategies to implement, she noticed that her time management radically improved. Her handle on her finances improved. She was relating better to her coworkers and her stress levels decreased. And she developed this mindset of excellence. So she started doing her work with a mindset of excellence, and she stopped avoiding or feeling insecure about her workload and how she was going to balance her personal goals within that. So now she sees herself as a visionary leader, and she's stepped into that role. It's amazing and beautiful for me as a coach to watch my clients do that. The last thing I want you to focus on and implement so that you can have really healthy, more comfortable conversations, not so difficult, is to avoid blaming and to express feeling. So what I mean is when the word you comes up, you make me feel, you did this, you're so blah, 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 that's going to get you in trouble. You want to be talking more about, this is how I feel when. This is how it makes me feel, fill in the blank. Focus on yourself and take responsibility for what's in your control. There is so much more in your control than you give yourself credit for. Sometimes we can get, and I in the past would get into this space too, of feeling like a victim, feeling helpless, feeling hopeless, like there was nothing I could do to change my relationships, or there was nothing I could do to change the current situation and how I felt. I was stuck. That's what I had decided. And when you make a decision and you listen to the thoughts in your head without questioning them, it's a dangerous place to be. So I would encourage you to not believe everything you're thinking, to empower yourself with your thoughts. So ask yourself, what can I do about my situation still? What's in my power? What am I willing to do to make this situation the way I want it? Because maybe you need to raise your standards. Maybe you need to look for the nugget of truth and ask yourself, what can I learn? How can I improve in this situation? So remember, you can't change others, but you can improve yourself. And that is very empowering. And how you show up in life and how you choose to role model through your actions, through your behavior, through who you're being, will dramatically impact how you parent. It will dramatically impact how you lead. It will dramatically impact your business life and improve your prosperity. It's beautiful, the ripple effect. Here's another testimonial from a client of mine who is a business owner. And she really found the power of taking responsibility to have that ripple effect in her family life. She was a part of my group coaching program last year, and she noticed that as she was working on her communication skills, as she was working on addressing conflict with confidence, her family life started shifting in a positive way. The way she was relating to her husband and kids dramatically improved, and she gained more respect for them, and the ripple effect started to become super obvious. The way she was communicating with her staff improved, and it improved the kind of the excellent standard she had for her business. So there's so many ways that when you work on yourself and you focus on improving yourself instead of trying to change other people, you're going to notice that your business grows. You're going to notice that people want to work with you more. You're going to notice that, you know, things just show up in your life and you're more open to being blessed. Everything is benefited when you work on yourself. How long will you wait for the perfect timing? I love this quote. It's a Chinese proverb, and it goes like this. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. So I encourage you, if you need to change in this area, that you don't wait, that you don't put it off and avoid it anymore. Because now is a perfect time as any to make a shift happen in your life. That's what I offer you, is support, major accountability, and mentorship. That's what a coach does for her clients. I want to ask you, what's it costing you to not change your habits, to continue thinking and acting in the same ways you've always lived? How is it impacting your relationships to communicate with those old skills that you've been using? If you had some new communication skills in your tool belt, how would that impact how successful you are in your personal life, in your business life? Can you imagine? Super fun to think about. You have to acknowledge that you are paying a price when you decide to live within your comfort zone. And often your family is paying a price when you choose not to change and improve. The price that your family usually pays is you being less than awesome. You showing up more impatiently, more irritable. You know, there's just so many negative things that happen when we choose to stay sedentary and not grow in our lives, and it hurts other people. Sometimes it impacts us negatively in our health too. We gain weight, we lose too much weight, we develop skin conditions, heart conditions. Stress does negative things to your health and to your family life. But the awesome thing I have to say is you have a choice, and you will always have a choice if you choose to move forward now or not. In the next 30 days, what would it mean for you to have more time? Can you imagine more flexibility in your life and less stress? What would that change for you? In the next 30 or 60 days, would you like to take more time off? Who wouldn't? I can show you how you can make that happen. And you don't have to worry about your productivity or success suffering. It actually increases. That's what I show people how to do, is conquer their stress. So I give them strategic systems that work to conquer stress. Kickstart your health back to how you would like to be looking and feeling. It's totally possible. I have the best program for you. It's called Breakthrough to Your Fun and Fabulous Life, and I want to tell you a little bit more about it. Here are the details. It's an exclusive 6-month-long program where I work one-on-one with you, and I offer group coaching as part of the package. So there's major mentorship, support, and accountability. And you have lifetime access to the modules, audio, video, and worksheet training that you can print out and work through when it works for you. The focus of the training and the mentorship program is to help you take more time off consistently, to help you delegate and outsource to become the master of your business or company instead of the slave to it, to help you decrease your stress and make time for your health, make time to have fun and adventures with your family and friends. The focus of the program, it helps you create healthy boundaries so you feel fulfilled. You're making decisions that make you happy, make you feel accomplished and re-energized. And the program also is geared towards enabling you to increase your productivity and prosperity, and even more importantly, to make a bigger impact. You can find out more about the program at amyengelmark.com/about. And my offer for you today, this is limited because I only have a few more spaces open in the next 2 weeks. I've set aside time for about an hour or so for those of you who feel like this is a really good fit, this really spoke to you. For those of you who are thinking, thanks so much for the training, Amy, and you're going to take off, no problem. But if this really hit home for you, I want to help you figure out how you can have it all. More fun, more adventure, more free time, minus the stress. So I'll personally take the time to go through your goals with you with a fine comb so you can get really clear on where you might be holding back and what steps you need to take so you can accomplish your goals and get new results that you've been wanting. The 1-hour session is completely free, but I'm picky with who I work with because it needs to be a good fit, right? So worst case scenario is that you work with me for the 1 hour and it was the best 60 minutes you've spent on your business and personal life in the next year. Best case scenario is we're a great fit, we work well together, and I offer you an invitation to work with me. So you can apply right now at amyengelmark.com/breakthrough and let me know that you found out about this offer on my webinar. And I look forward to helping you get clear and create a structured plan so that your business is a total knockout success and your family and your free time, all those things get accomplished. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week for the continuation of our webinar series. Lots of love. Bye-bye.